Okay. Hello, welcome to another episode of Locked In. My name is Megan Holden.
And I'm Sam Rodriguez.
And we're here covering the latest and hottest debates for the NFL, NBA, and now the Korean Young Minds Undiscovered League. For those who don't know, the Korean Young Minds Undiscovered League is the first replica of European model for basketball training and development in the USA. They take skilled basketball players from all across the nation for many different levels, G League, high school, college, and they compete at the highest level. Sam, what are we covering today?
So today we're going to be covering some pretty, I'd say, hot debates. We got Harden going to Miami, how that's going to fit, if he even goes there, and how that works. We'll find out my debates. I'm pretty highly opinionated on that, so we'll see. Sure. And then we got the biggest disappointment this season in the NFL. And there's a lot of candidates for this, but I think we're going to have a couple good ones.
Yeah, and also if we have time, we'll do a quick NFL Sunday recap. A lot happened yesterday, some upsets. But to start off, we're going to go straight into the Korean Young Minds Undiscovered League recap. The first game, it was Undiscovered, who was undefeated going in, versus the Pros. There was a lot of good matchups this week. I feel like fair matchups. Both are very experienced, skilled. Went to overtime game, but Undiscovered got their first loss, 80 to the Pros, who won 84. Can you give me some of the numbers of this game? Some of the stats?
Yeah, so this game was actually really good because this is the first team that Undiscovered team faced that was actually same talent-wise, I'd say. Not hating anyone else. Everyone in the league is great. I'm just saying this team had the vets. They had played for the New York Knicks. They had a bunch of overseas players. So.
They had the experience, yeah.
Exactly. So this game was very close. The 84, like you said, overtime game. Jarrett Henderson, the energy guy, again, 16 points, 13 rebounds. He plays his heart out there. I think we all see that every week. You got Balza Bazufi. I hope I didn't mispronounce that. I'd feel really bad.
You're good.
17 points. Yeah. 17 points, 14 rebounds. He played pretty good as well. They have a lot of energy guys in that team.
Yes. How about the Pros? Well, the Pros had a G Leaguer, right? G Leaguer.
Yeah. No, they had an NBA player. He played in the NBA.
For the Knicks, but now he's with the Texas Legend G League.
Yep. That was CJ Carter. He had 24 points, 5 rebounds, showing that experience, showing out. Then you had Adric Hills, who plays in Germany, 21 points, which is phenomenal. Shut up. Sorry.
You're good.
And then you got.
What we gotta do right now. Go ahead.
I know. You got Dante Smith, plays for Morocco Super League, 14 points, 4 rebounds. So both teams had players in different leagues. You had the Undiscovered team, most of them are in the TBL league. You have the Pros, which you got NBA players overseas. So it was a good battle between both, but the Pros ended up taking it out in overtime.
Yeah, and my quick takeaways from this game was that Jarrett Henderson, we might see him as a special guest soon on the show. Great energy guy, was all over the floor, cleaned up the glass, got to the foul line often, 16 points, 13 rebounds. They played, I feel like Undiscovered played with good speed, and they were good with press defense, but the Pros, they just had multiple guys looking for shots, where I feel like Undiscovered they lived and died by Durham. He was shot early and often. Even going late, it was kind of live and die by him. He played hero ball a little bit at the end. The last shot there in the fourth, it didn't pay off. But like I said, the Pros had multiple guys shooting. They had CJ Carter, 24 points, 5 rebounds. He was the experience showed there. Good job looking for offense. Dribble moves to create space for 3. Then you had a good job just from the defense. And they just fought. It was Undiscovered for the first half, led most of the game. It was a close game, but the Pros really came in the second half and took the lead. So I think it was a nail biter. Both experience showed, but I think the Pros just got more people involved.
Yeah, that was a good game overall. That's probably game of the week for me. That was the best matchup we've seen for Undiscovered League.
Like I said, the experience really showed. So game 2 got Louis Black and versus the Pros. Pros play back to back. The Pros end up winning this game 79-68. It was a closer game than the final score shows. It was a game of momentum for me. Can you give me some of the stats for the game?
Yeah, so the Pros ended up coming on top as well. Back-to-back game. For the Louisville Black, you had Marcus Brooks. They called him an impact player. So there was a pro scout at these games. He was one of the impact players, they said. He had 25 points, 13 rebounds, 2 steals. He played phenomenally. He's a 6'6" guard who can play basically the point and he can play some forward positions.
Mm-hmm.
You also had Jesse Williams, who we see show out every week. He had 20 points, 3 rebounds per usual. That's Jesse's basically stats. He's well with that. He averages basically that same amount every time. Then the Pros, again, you have just the people. CJ Carter, 18 points. Coming off back-to-back. You had Adric Hills, again, 19 points. And then you had LaMarcus Lachow, who also another NBA G League player that this team has with 12.6 assists. So this whole team's stacked with NBA players, NBA G League players, overseas players. That's why they're called the Pros.
Mm-hmm. And I thought they coming off hot off the win. They were riding momentum going to the first half of this game. But the Louisville Black didn't back down. They kept fighting.
Oh no, they didn't.
And they made it a tie game going into the second quarter and second half. It was a good fight. I think the Pros did fall in love too much with the 3-point this game. They did have good speed with the ball, but they were doing a good job in the beginning, mixing up driving and shooting threes. But then they started falling in love with the threes. And Louis Black did a good job when they started missing, making them pay, driving to the basket, getting the shots. I feel like the Pros though had more burst at the end to pull it off. But some quick takeaways I had was Louis Black in the beginning had a little too much mistakes, and I feel like that's what kind of cost them in the end. Just they couldn't overcome that. They had a little bit too much. They gave too much space for threes. They weren't closing out, and they weren't boxing out in the first quarter. But like I said, they fought hard. They usually have close games. Don't sleep on Louis Black now. They've been fighting close games. They might be 2-3, but they've been fighting close and had a lot of
every game they play is a close game, so they're not backing down.
No,
they just got to finish it, learn how to close games.
Yeah, they're very. I think they're a sleeper team in this league. Some guys you mentioned was Marcus Brooks, all over the court, going to the basket, good control, going to the basket, drawing a foul and making the bucket. 25 points, 13 rebounds, 2 steals. Well-rounded game for him. And a guy that I mentioned I loved last week, Jesse Williams. I feel like, yes, he didn't get off to the best start, but in the second, third quarter when they started turning around, he was huge for them. He played with heart. You saw him all over the field. He didn't give up. And I feel like the team really fed off that. He was just great on both sides. And again, for the Pros, CJ Carter went off again, got going early, and then you had Hills again with 19 points. So the only thing with the Pros is I would like to see more ball movement, stop falling in love with the threes, and for the Louis Black, just keep fighting, but you can't get off, especially against these veteran teams or these more experienced teams. You can't get off to not a bad start, but you can't really afford those costly mistakes. You got to clean it up a little bit.
No, you got to, especially when you're playing the team, the Pros, you have to play to their level.
Mm-hmm.
I think Louisville Black, they have it in them. They're a very talented team. They just got to close games and continue the same pace throughout the whole game.
It was just that start that got them. I feel like if they got off to the same level start, they wouldn't be fighting. They wouldn't use so much energy fighting off to come back, and they would have had more energy at the end. And I think they could have prevented that final burst that the Pros had.
I agree.
Game 3, the Prospects to EA Hoops. I feel like this was also a fair matchup. Two young uncovered teams. But the Prospects did lose 38. EA Hoops 55. Give me some stats for this game.
So I've been waiting for the EA Hoops to win their game. Yeah. I love this team. All right. Keith Smith is my favorite player on that team. Prep school, 18 years old, 6'4" guard. He had 21 points, 4 rebounds. I've been saying this since last week. He is talented. Yeah, they're all still young, so it's going to take time for them to grow into it. But this team is talented. Then you had Jaden Pacha, 6'5". He plays for Lone Star College. Only 10 points, but it was an impactful 10 points. As you saw, the score was only 55-38. Then the Prospects, Abraham Davalos, he's been showing out week after week. This week he was a little bit down. He had 10 points, but still showing out for little guys, 5'8". I love it. You have Rick Curry, who plays for another league, the CSM Targa Ju in Romania. He had 10 points, 2 rebounds. He's a 6'9" guard/forward. But overall, this game was a great game. I'm happy the EA Hoops could finally pull it out. They're close. It may not seem like they're close every week, but they are. Yeah. This game, it shows they have it in them to win. And they're competing with men. They're competing with men. So I think they're going to be superstars one day.
This is why it was more of a game, because I feel like the Prospects were a more younger team with the same kind of level of experience. But the EA Hoops were intercepting like they were the Dolphins out there. Like they were intercepting passes like they were the Dolphins. Just going through the lanes. They had great defense. They had control of the game. Played with at their own speed. Even great defense down the stretch when prospects try to make a little run in the fourth. I feel like they played more they played low. Like, so you mentioned Keith Smith. I thought Keith Smith last week he was trying to do too much with the ball, but I feel like he did great this week. Led the way, 21 points, 4 rebounds, as you mentioned. Nice shooting. Found his shot. Was all over the court, even defensively, grabbing rebounds. He was all over the court. We can mention that maybe a potential player of the week player right there. But what I want to say was, they were just aggressive to the rim. Where I feel like the prospects, I feel like they made way too many mistakes early. They were turning the ball a lot, committing to a lot of fouls. They were just forcing things in the first half. But they did make a good run. They played a lot better in the second half, so something they can build on. They had more team ball movement. Abraham got going a little bit. But I think they had too much mistakes to recover from. Like I said, with these young teams, you can't fight back when you play. You can't make this many mistakes and try to fight back when you play a more experienced team.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. It's the mistakes that are killing. I think it's everyone in this league, honestly, because this league's stacked with players. It's just the little things that are happening. Like EA Hoops, they played a phenomenal defensive game. I've been waiting to see this from them, and honestly, it made me very excited to see them actually pull this out.
Yes. Now, who's your player of the week? Since we talked about, we mentioned Keith Smith. There's some other players. We mentioned Henderson. We mentioned Marcus Brooks. Who do you have for the player of the week?
Honestly, I was like debating this.
It's tough this week.
Everyone showed out this week. Like everyone showed out this week.
And it was more of a team. It wasn't the usual. I feel like it was less of the usual suspects. Like Durham goes off every week. I feel like there was more guys stepping up. But who do you have?
So even though they lost, I'm gonna have to go with Marcus Brooks and Louisville Black.
Okay, I like
25 points, 13 rebounds, 2 steals. He played phenomenally. And like I said, there was a pro scout in attendance, and he said the 2 players he liked were Jarrett, Marcus, 3 players, Jarrett, Marcus Brooks, and Balsa. So they were all-around players that they do impact the game. And he played phenomenally. He can play different positions as well. I think, just like I said, they need to finish out games, but he is my player of the week. He honestly did the most to me.
All right, I'm not mad at the pick. It was a tough choice, but honestly, while watching the games, the player that drew to me most, this is the player of the week for me, was definitely had to be Jesse Williams, just because, like I said, he turned things around for that team. They fed off his energy. He was kind of like the Jarrett for this team. He got it going, and the second, third quarter, and the team picked up with him. He was all over the court. He might not have as the numbers as the Brooks, but I thought he brought the heart. So that's who my player of the week is. But now going to our first debate for the NBA, Harden and the Heat. Now, everything's being held off, obviously, because of Giannis. People want to see what Giannis does first. Does he sign a long-term contract, or is he going to do a short-term contract? People are saying that has an impact on when Harden's going to get traded. But there's been rumors. Obviously, you heard Philly's name. You heard he want to go to the Nets. But most recently, Miami's been hot. They have actually the best odds. First off, how do you like the fit? Do you feel like it's a good fit, Harden going to Miami?
No.
Okay, tell me why.
I mean that in the most sincere way. It will never work.
No, you don't mean in a sincere way, but go ahead. Tell me why.
So we all know James Harden isn't a team player, right?
Okay.
You cannot put him. I think he's too soft to play with Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
We all seen to play with Jimmy Butler, you need to be a different breed. Cat couldn't do it. He was a superstar. He couldn't handle it. Andrew Wiggins couldn't handle it. Like Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid couldn't even handle it.
They did better though.
Exactly, but Miami, you need to be able to have that grit and grind. I don't think Harden has that. Harden plays too soft to be on the Miami Heat. The way they play is physical, aggressive. Jimmy Butler's going to get in your face, get at you. Harden's not going to like that, and no one's taking Jimmy's spot on that team. They're going to have to put Harden maybe shoot guard, but Jimmy a small forward. But overall, it's still Jimmy's team. Harden's going to want to come and take over. It won't happen. I don't see them meshing together as well. I think it's just another person that wants to take the ball away. They have a great chemistry going on right there in Miami. Adding Harden, I think, would disrupt that because you're getting a ball hog added to the team, someone who's known for not being a good teammate, and overall just not a defensive player when that team is based around you two-way players.
Okay.
So overall, I don't think it'll work, but if he wants to try it, go ahead. Give the Celtics an easier path.
I'm going to hold you to that. All right. Now, you took a lot of points I was going to mention. Excuse my dog here. He's also not a big fan of it. So, so now James Harden, right? I'm putting my 2-minute timer on. So the Miami Heat, I mean, they got to the NBA Finals. They were riding momentum. They were the underdogs, right? But going into next season, can you still ride the same momentum? Teams know you now. Can you really still ride that underdog mentality when you made the NBA Finals last season? So I'm not sure if that would work, but I feel like the culture there, right, the grit will still get them far, especially in the East. I do think they need another star to get to the next level. I'm just not sure James Harden is that star. And I know they need to score. They need to go to score because Jimmy Butler was the leading right there, 19 points, but you saw 45 from the field, 25 from three. They're more of a community when it comes to the three-point line. They actually had the second best three-point field goal percentage in the league. But if you go for Harden, you're trading away those bench pieces that get you that. So you're trading away Goran, you're trading away, people say Hero, Duncan Robinson, even though there's been reports if Hero will go or not. But so you're trading away basically the points that you got for another. So you're trading away 3 players who get you the same amount of points by like 1, right? So you're trading away your depth for 1 star player. That was a strength for your team. But also a strength for your team was for defense. You got the 10th best points per game for defense. You had the 7th best for opponent field goal percentage and 4th in blocks. If you bring in James Harden, who's known for his one-way player, is that going to go down? Is the culture going to go down? Also, like I said, grit grind team, tough it out. Focus. James Harden, the reason why the culture in Houston was not working and why there's been a problem, he had stacked teams, maybe underachieving, is because he didn't he wasn't into it as much. You go into playoffs too, so if you look at the playoffs, his game is not as effective in the playoffs when it comes time. The Heat, that's where they really need to improve because you look at they made, like I said, they made the NBA Finals last season. So going to the Eastern Conference is really enough for this team. They want to win the NBA Finals. And I know Harden's trying to escape, the West over there with the Lakers, but he's going to have to face them when it comes to the finals. And is he going to be enough for them to beat over when he still has his problems with, yes, he brings the scoring, but he's not going to bring the defense, the same amount of defense. They're going to have less depth. And is he going to impact change the culture over there, like you mentioned? Does he fit? I don't think he fits the culture. Yes, you have a great coach there. You have Pat Riley. But I think him and Butler, who are good friends now, and Butler's sport now, I think that won't work out in the long run. Just because I feel like if Harden's not as committed, if he's going to his club instead of practices, it's going to be a problem.
And we know he said he wanted to play with John Wall, and now that he played a game with John Wall, he wants out again. So I think Harden just needs to go somewhere else completely, by himself. Miami's not going to
Well, let's talk about that too. So first off, how would you even feel about this trade? They're talking about they will get Hero in return. Is the Hero even enough for Harden? And also, is that the direction you want to go if you're Houston? Because you already got 2 vets now. So are you rebuilding or are you contending? Do you trade him for another star or do you trade him for young pieces? Harden.
So I'd say trade for young pieces, but Tyler Hero is nowhere near a James Harden.
No.
So that trade overall hurts Miami and it hurts Houston because Tyler Hero fits in the Miami system easily. And sorry, my dog's going.
No, your dogs want to get their 2 cents in today, but yeah,
that's how we get along. Yeah. But so it's not gonna work. Hero fits well in that Miami system. Mm-hmm. We don't know how he's gonna fit anywhere else. We saw he only showed out towards the end. So you put him in a different system, especially Houston. I don't know how that's gonna work. Especially that's not enough for James Harden. James Harden right now is 4 first round, 3 first round picks, maybe 4 other second round. We saw what the Pelicans got for Drew Holiday. James Harden should get double that. Yeah. I'm not a fan of him, but he's in his prime. He's at his peak right now. Yeah. So if Houston doesn't get as more than Drew Holiday, then it's a waste for both teams. Miami, he won't fit well, and Houston's gonna get screwed over in the end.
I feel like Houston, they should they need a score, so they should try to keep Harden there. But again, the chemistry's not there. Obviously the culture is impacted. I think the best situation for everything is him trading to the Magic, maybe for Aaron Gordon, who they've been trying to get rid of, or not trying to get rid of, they've been open to get rid of. They're trying to get to that next level. James Harden goes there. Florida has a good party scene. He's still happy there. They also have a tough team, and it's still in the East. So I feel like it's a win-win. And then you get that young piece who still is enough to kind of help you contend, make a playoff push now. I feel like, but talk about Miami. Now, if they miss out on Giannis, right? We said James Harden is not the answer. Who should they go after then? Who should they go after to take them to that next level?
So I honestly, they're at that next level.
Okay.
They don't need another superstar, per se, because that team's built off no superstars.
But do you think that'll work next year, though, when everyone knows now? You're not going to have the same momentum and underdog type of feel.
all they need is another couple role players. Losing Jay Crawford, that's hard. They just need maybe another couple role players. I don't think a star would fit in that team unless it's like a specific one.
Okay.
Like I say, Russell Westbrook, he has that Jimmy Butler mentality.
Mhm.
He'd fit on that team, but like James Harden wouldn't. He's too soft. A lot of the stars now are soft. I don't see that working, except for my guy LeBron, of course. Can't hate
No, 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 no. You said it. You said it. You gotta stand by it. You gotta
No,
stand by it. Yeah.
most.
You
But
called it
still,
kindergarten before, but okay, go ahead.
they need more role players in that team. Maybe another shooter, another star defensive player. Adding Avery Bradley was huge.
It was.
That's their star defensive player. He's going to cover all the top guards. That was
Mhm.
huge. I'm upset he left, but that's a big pickup for them. I'd honestly take him over Jay Crawford. I think it's
Okay.
better.
Same.
So I think just another role player or two will fit. I don't think a superstar will fit like Giannis. I don't see that working. I'm not a fan of Giannis. I just don't see him fitting in Miami.
Okay, I'm agreeing and disagreeing here with you. I don't think they need another role player. I think that's they have too many role players. They have enough role players. I think they need another star. This kind of reminds me of the Celtics. Remember when they had IT and they had all those overachieving players, but you don't want to mess it up, right? If you're Miami and trade for like the Harden, Kyrie Irving, right, and mess up that whole chemistry and it doesn't click. You want to trade. I feel like if you're Miami, you need a star, but you need the right star. I feel like you need a two-way player. Maybe people talk about Paul George, right? If they're trying to, I guess, the Clippers team, they're trying to do things the right way this season. They're playing in the preseason games. They're playing and I can't talk right now. They're working out. They're more involved, so they're hoping to see if it actually works and actually if they put their plays where the mouth is. But if it doesn't work out, I think that's a piece because he's going to be you have that kind of same story as far as being overlooked now. People are not going to hold him as highly, and he goes to a team where I feel like he's a nice pairing to Jimmy Butler. Giannis, I'm not sure if he's the best pairing next to Jimmy Butler because Jimmy Butler, like I mentioned, is not the best three-point shooter. Then you have Giannis. I feel like you got too many people trying to get to the basket and not enough space. Even though you have Goran there, but you can only have so many people on the floor at once, right? You can't have Duncan, Goran, Hero, Jimmy, and Giannis on the floor at once. And then you have Bam's not really a three-point shooter. I mean, he's more. I think he's better next to the basket. So I feel like you need a two-way player. I think Paul George, if he becomes available, I feel like you just have enough role players. And I feel like if you trade them for Harden, I don't think Harden's the right star right now. I think you just have to wait for the right star to become available. Don't rush it. You have young talent on your team, see where it goes. I wouldn't rush it right now because you can lose it, end up losing players for nothing. Like or losing losing young potential players and losing that culture, kind of like what the Celtics did.
Yeah, they shouldn't risk it. They have time. They're still going to be a contending team. Jimmy Butler's still a decent age. He has a couple more years left in him. So take your time. Don't rush superstar right now.
I'm lucky though the Celtics still had Tatum and Brown though. They kept them. But as far as they kind of lost that culture for a year or two, the grit and grind. All right, now go to the NFL, NBA to the NFL. The biggest disappointment. Can't talk. Biggest disappointment. They should get my dog back in here. In the NFL so far this season, who do you have? I know.
This was tough. Man, can you start real quick so I can?
Yeah, no problem. So I had the Ravens offense to be specific. So the Ravens, they were actually top of the league last season as far as record wise, as far as offense wise too. This season they're 7-5. Last season, like I said, they won the AFC. This season, the Ravens ranked 20 for yards per game and 12 for points. Last season they were second. They added some guy offensively. They did lose some alignment with Yanda and Waddle, but they did gain guys like Hayden Hurst. They created some weapons. The disappointment here comes from I feel like players and coaches. You didn't get that big jump from Hollywood Brown and Boykin, as they was hoping for, or Miles Boykin, that they were hoping for. So the wide receivers that they have there is not really, I want to say, it's not really reliable. Hollywood Brown reminds me kind of like Deshaun Jackson, a poor man Deshaun Jackson, very streaky player. Lamar Jackson also didn't take a big jump, even though I don't feel like the criticism that he's getting is not fair. As far as how much he's getting, I feel like he's not above criticism. I don't feel like he shouldn't get none, obviously, since those are on him. But I also seen a lot of drop passes from his wide receivers. I feel like I've seen a lot of collapse, offensive line collapse. Obviously, because the O-line is not the same. But I feel like he hasn't taken a big jump as people expected him as he did year 1 to year 2, to year 2 to year 3. But most importantly, the offensive coordinators, they're running the same package as last season. So what happened last season is you had this explosive offense that not many people expected, but now defense have tape. So you go in this season, if you run the same thing, defense know what you're gonna do. You gotta change it up. You gotta keep them on their toes, kind of like the Cleveland Browns are doing. Right? They watch plays. Once teams gets on, they change their packages. The Ravens are not doing that. They run the same thing as they did before, and defense are expecting it now. And they have the guys, and the Ravens don't have the star power to make up for it. Right? They can't really be so they can be sneaky to make up for the explosiveness, but they don't have the star talent to make up for to be explosive. They have to be sneaky with it. But if you run the same packages, you can't really be sneaky. So my disappointment for this season is the Ravens offense. Well, I'll put in order. I'll put the coaching, offensive coordinator, the wide receivers, and Lamar Jackson.
I can't disagree with you on that.
Okay.
They are really disappointing this season. We both picked them to be maybe Super Bowl contenders this year.
I had them top of the AFC. This is not a good look for me. I had them top of the AFC. I feel like they were going to be I feel like they should have won Super Bowl last season. I thought they were going to be in Super Bowl again, like you mentioned. But 2 minutes. So who you got?
So yes, they're a big disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
But my disappointment is coming from Dallas.
Okay.
With all the injuries over there at the Cowboys, you'd think Ezekiel Elliott would be able to step up, being the superstar running back.
Okay.
Right now, he's ranked 14 out of all running backs in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
14 stat-wise. He has shown no improvement. They have an amazing offensive line, so that's not it. He has the help. And now they're down to their third-string quarterback. So it should be running through him, you think, right? No. This man only had one game over 100 yards. Everything else has been 40 yards, 50 yards, 60.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing horrible. He has 5 touchdowns. For the season, he only has 862 yards. All right, we see players like Dalvin Cook stepping up. You see Derrick Henry playing phenomenally. There's 13 other running backs labeled above Ezekiel Elliott. And in fantasy, he's a top 5. In fantasy, he's a top 5, top 3 running back to pick. Am I wrong?
No, because you picked them that fine. This is the grudge. That this is you're on a grudge because you're mad that you picked them. But I mean, you're warranted. But go ahead, keep going. Go on.
This whole season, I hate the Cowboys. I'll say it loud and proud till the day I die. He is making my point. He is a superstar, but he's not playing like a superstar, and he's still young, so the age isn't a factor. Dak Prescott's not there, so there's no reason for him not to be getting the ball more and getting more touches. He's playing not up to his caliber. And then, like, with all the injuries throughout the season, there's so many running backs stepping up to the plate, and he's not one of them. So it's just very disappointing to me. I think this would be the year for him to break out because Dak's not there. But we see now he can't do it himself. So be ready next year, fantasy players.
All right. So I have to – okay, I'm agree to disagree a little bit here because the offensive line is not the same as it was a couple years ago, right? You can obviously see it with how they're breaking down there. So is it really football? If he is as talented as people say, right? If he is as gifted, he shouldn't need that top offensive line, right? So how much can you really put on offensive line? I feel like two things. One, I feel like running backs don't have longevity, right? That's the thing. He has gotten beaten up a little bit. He's a bigger back. But two, I feel like he also hasn't been the same since that big contract. He got that big contract back now. Is he still a guy? I agree he's had a very disappointing this season. The reason why I just have the Ravens, because like I said, I expected the Ravens to be in the Super Bowl. They had the top offense last season. This season, it's just a big downfall. When I feel like it doesn't have to be. Westfield, I feel like the Cowboys can't really control the situation as much because, like I said, all the injuries. It's not the same team, and it just seems like I'm not sure if it's anything Elliott can change. He can't add to his, he's not the GM. He can't add to his offensive line, but he is not performing like the superstar running back that people claim to be. So is he even still a super running back, or is he just a good running back that had a great offensive line?
That's what I'm saying. Like, he lost everything, I'd say. I think since getting that big contract, he has no grit anymore. He has no grind. Mm-hmm. He's there. He has his big payday. That's it. He doesn't care anymore. So I'm questioning, like, does he want to play? Like, was it just like money-wise? Does he care about his stats? Does he care about what's going on? Or is he just happy he got paid and that's it?
To be fair, it's hard to care on the Cowboys when it's constant disappointment, right? It's constant disappointment over there. We talked about you're not really on a winning team, so how much does it matter? But last thing before our time runs out, I want to get to a quick Sunday recap. A lot of things happened. Some things that stick out to me. The Steelers' defense is deep. That defensive line is deep, right? The first quarter they were still getting pressure. First half they were still getting a lot of pressure. Even though they had injuries to Josh Allen, but the Bills did do a great job of making changes. And I feel like what people are gonna go, okay, Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bill fans, you can hear this now. All right, so I will admit that he came through in a big game. Buffalo came through in a big game. That's been my thing about them. I feel like they were 1-2 against playoff contending teams, like Super Bowl contending teams. I want them to, I feel like they had an easier schedule so I feel like they got favorable matchups. But they did come out and show this game that, I mean, they can compete with the top guys. I feel like they did a great job of changing their game plan or adjusting. I feel like the Steelers didn't. I feel like Big Ben's most improved player, most comeback player of the year, is dropped down. I think he's not even candidate anymore after last game. Mike Tomlin, coach of the year, I feel like status has dropped down a little bit after not making adjustments, even though I feel like he's still a top candidate. Allen, to me, I always said this, I feel like he has improved the most. If this was a proven player of the year, I would give it to Josh Allen. All right. But don't make confused. I'm still not in Josh Allen love. Like I think he's a good player. He went from bad to good to me. He's a real good player, but he's not great because of inconsistency, and he still has problems with the deep ball. If he stays like we seen last game, with that 5 to 15 yards in the middle, when you have Diggs, who's great yards after catch, and Beasley, I feel like it's bread and butter. If he sticks to that, he can definitely build off that. It's just about consistency, and I feel like he should get away from that long ball. But going to the Eagles. Hurts is the future of the Eagles fans. Appreciate him. All right, Wentz, it's over. Don't go back to Wentz. Hurts is just a winner.
Thank God.
Hurts is a winner. We've seen that in college. But now just get the pieces around him. Yeah,
can I say something real quick? Doug Peterson is 11-1 when Carson Wentz is not the quarterback. Does that not say something?
Does say something.
It's not the coaching, Eagles fans. Your quarterback just sucks.
Well, also, I mean, it was just he had excuses for so long with injuries around him, and I feel like now you have a QB who's in there who wins games, right? Who actually pulls the upset. Now the excuses kind of go honestly down the drain, but they're taken less lightly. New England needs to tank. It's time. It's over. Stop. I don't want to hear no more about this playoff odds. There's a chance here. There's a chance. No, it's over. They need to tank. I know Bill won't do it. But I don't think even Bill needs to do anything. I think the team's not good enough. The team can't score. And people want to blame everything on Cam. I feel like Cam is, again, not the same thing with Lamar, not above criticism. He does deserve obviously some criticism. But I feel like it's not all him. This is the offense that was ranked last separation for wide receivers. They got the worst tight end group in NFL. They actually got worse this season as far as targets. They lost some guys to new. So I don't know what people are expecting. New QB coming in. Not much of offseason.
He hasn't had any help.
He hasn't had no help. Obviously, there's some issues with his sometimes mechanics. Where his feet go sideways, and his throws off. But as far as there's really no separation, and I feel like the all offensive line couldn't hold up last game. He didn't have no time. So I feel like Cam. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't played great this year, but I feel like it's not on him. I think it's on Bill, who didn't get what you're losing Brady. You had a lot of opt-out. You didn't fill those holes, right? You had the last ranked offense. You didn't fill those holes.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's more on Bill. It's on the wide receivers not taking a jump. You have draft first round pick and Harry. He's better at blocking guys than catching. I think it's just time New England to tank to start open next year. You got a lot of cap. You have some guys in free agency. Dolphins secondary. Dolphins second. They have cap, and they have Allen Robinson out there. Juju.
Exactly. And real quick on that Patriots thing, they have to give Cam a chance. That Patriots offense is hard.
Yeah.
We've seen many players come in and not be able to fit that. Even superstar players.
Yeah.
That Patriots offense, you have to understand. Roddy White didn't fit there, and he was a superstar wide receiver. Like, you got to give them time, especially weapons. Like you said, the cap space is there. Allen Robinson, that'd be a phenomenal signing. N'Keal Harry can't really do it himself. Edelman, we've seen, he's a great wide receiver, but he's hurt. And he can't be the main guy. He needs more help. Maybe even one good offensive lineman. Just one.
They have good offensive linemen, just they're constantly banged up in and out. They don't have no depth. That's the problem. The thing is with that, though, also I would say is that I lost my train of thought for a second. I feel like even Brady, last 9 games of last season, we saw he's kind of the stats of QBR is similar to Cam's. Like, it's just not a good. No one I feel like can succeed with this offense. Put any QB in this system, and they're gonna have worse numbers.
Yep, exactly. And Cam's a great quarterback. People don't hate on him yet. Don't count him out yet.
I feel like you have to look at his record. I think he is a really good QB. I think 2018 people just have short-term memory. He was actually one of his best seasons. His injuries. I'm not sure. I'm not saying he could be MVP type Cam, but I feel like we haven't seen the best of Cam, and I feel like part of it is also because the surrounding pieces around him. But wrapping up here, I think Dolphins have the best secondary duo in the NFL. Howard, Jones. They made it a game against Kansas City like predicted. And then Brady doesn't. Okay, this is what I'm surprised with Brady. Brady, I know, is not known for having a big arm, but he does surprise me sometimes. That touchdown throw to Scotty Miller. I wonder if we talked about before. What would Tampa Bay do? Are they want these big plays, or should they go to short yards?
Yeah.
Will Brady adjust? Can Brady consistently do that? Is the question, I think.
Brady,
but let's give me a quick recaps.
He's older. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. I mean, I'd say he's a great quarterback. Put his system in. You want your best chance, put his system in. Don't try to teach him something new yet. Like,
yeah. So any last thoughts or quick recaps of what you saw on Sunday?
Yeah. So you're forgetting Denver here. You're forgetting.
Okay, I knew you were gonna bring up Denver. Go ahead.
You were missing Noah Fant, Phillip Lindsay, Cortland Sutton. We're missing so many players, and Drew Lock still performed. He gives me anxiety. He's Baker Mayfield to me. He either has phenomenal games or he has the worst game in NFL history.
I was about to say,
never consistent.
I was about to say, don't jump on the fan page now when you were begging for Trevor Lawrence. Like,
no, I'm not. I'm still not sold on him because he does have. He's very inconsistent. Yes, he hasn't had many weapons because Cortland Sutton's been out, but still, we've seen he can do it without the weapons. He's had those games, so it's like, But last game they showed out. They played well against the Panthers. I'm mad they're winning, like you said. Tank. Like, there's no hope. If there's no hope for the playoffs, stop trying. Like, get your guys healthy. Put in, like, I don't know, someone else.
But I mean, they have young players, and that experience is important. But there's nothing worse for a GM than having a middle of a pack roster.
Yeah, exactly.
But we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next Monday with a special guest at 12 p.m. Also, you can follow our social media with the links we're about to share. Thank you guys, and have a good week.
See you guys.